356 runs in the end is what Pakistan won the Abu Dhabi Test with, and it's really a big victory. And of course, when they set 603 runs, almost like on Sunday itself, we knew, really, bar a miracle, that it would be a big win for Pakistan. And how did you see it? It's a massive achievement in terms of the margin of defeat.
Yeah, not just this test, the first test as well. And I know people keep talking about this being a home series for Pakistan. It's not really, let's face it. I mean, if you asked India to play the next 5 years in Nepal or Colombo or something, it's not a home test. At best, it's a neutral venue, and they've adapted really well to it. And let's face it, Australia were most people's favourites when they arrived.
Especially after the limited overs series.
And on the back of what they've done in South Africa previously. But I think this series has shown that they have big problems in this part of the world, and those problems haven't gone away.
But Pakistan, Dilip, we've always known how blow hot, blow cold they've really always been. So 2 fantastic wins, big margins in both of them, fantastic performance from a number of individuals. But does it really say anything about what we should expect from them going forward?
I don't know what it says about Pakistan cricket going forward, because 2 of the key performers, Misbah and Yunus Khan, are very close to the end of their careers.
So is probably Zulfikar Babar.
So is he, yes. But then you've got players like Azhar Ali, Azad Shafiq, Ahmed Shahzad. Those guys should be around for a while yet. And the bowlers who've come in, apart from Babar, have also done well. And they've got Junaid Khan to come back from injuries, so who knows if Mohammad Amir will make an appearance sometime next year.
Riaz is around.
Yeah, so there is hope for the future, but you do tend to worry a bit about the batting, because these 2 are absolutely crucial to what Pakistan have done in the past few seasons, Yunus and Misbah.
Well, Yunus has done it for many years, of course, like 3 centuries and 4, one of them a double in 4 innings is obviously not something he's done before, but you sort of know what you're going to get with Yunus Khan, when he's going well. But Misbah was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it? The way he went about his work.
Yeah, Misbah's always been the sort of batsman who makes a gritty half century and then tends to give it away. I mean, if you look at his record, it's been like that. I think 750 tests, a lot of half centuries. But this test, fair play to him, 100 in both innings, and he was absolutely central to what they did in this series. Not just with the bat, mind you, the way he captained as well.
When you say the way he captained, what do you mean? What exactly are you talking about?
Well, with the resources that he had, I mean, people looked at that Pakistan attack before the start of the series, and they wondered, okay, how are they going to get Australia out twice? And they've got them out 4 times, and with something to spare as well. So the way he marshaled those, what people thought were thin resources, was outstanding.
And about the spinners, we saw Yasir Shah, the next spinner, in Zulfikar Babar, who's I think almost 37 or 36, doing rather well. But we keep talking about who after Saeed Ajmal. Is there anyone who can replace him? Do you see these 2 doing it, at least for the short term?
Well, I'm sure there are other options. I mean, people like Babar have played a lot of first-class cricket, and that's one thing that tends to be overlooked, that despite the international ban, the ban on, well, not really a ban, international teams refusing to play in Pakistan, the domestic scene has continued. I mean, it's carried on regardless, despite that, and clearly it's throwing up enough players who can adapt to the international game as these 2 or 3 have shown in this series.
Absolutely, Imran Khan not doing badly either. What about the Australians then? They're not good in the subcontinent, clearly, at least as far as Test cricket is concerned. Darren Newman has talked about going back to the drawing board and all of that. But what is it about their game that's not working here in this part of the world, but works so well elsewhere?
Well, I mean, they clearly fancy cricket in conditions that suit their pace bowlers. They've got a crop of fast bowlers who are outstanding, and in conditions that favour them, they will definitely win more than they lose. They showed that in South Africa earlier this year. But you take them out of that comfort zone, and there's no Shane Warne anymore. There's not even a Stuart McGill. So where are the bowlers who will take a bunch of wickets in spin-friendly conditions? you can't really think of too many. So they'll struggle in those conditions. But they go back now, they face an Indian team that doesn't travel well. And I'm sure they'll do really well in that series. And then they have an Ashes coming up next summer in England, again in conditions that are likely to suit their pace bowlers, and they should go okay in that as well. I think we've reached a stage where most teams tend to do well in their backyard and struggle away from home. South Africa have been a notable exception.
That's probably true around the world for a while now, obviously. And just overall there on their batting as well, of course, Michael Clarke coming back from an injury, probably not at his best. Chris Rogers was probably a bit disappointing through the series. Glenn Maxwell, I would say, was a bit of a gamble. You just took a chance with him. But what do you make of the rest of the makeup of the order? Again, good and favorable, good and familiar conditions, and not so elsewhere.
I still think you'll see major changes ahead of the India series. I think they will bring Alex Doolan back in at number 3. Rogers is so-so. It depends on how he goes in the Shield games before that series. Shane Watson has to come back, and a question of where they fit him into that side.
Mitchell Marsh has been one of the better performers.
Yes, he has. I don't think they'll worry too much in their conditions, to be honest, because that's not the problem. I saw an interesting quote from Hatra Singh, who coaches Bangladesh now, but was involved with New South Wales cricket before, and he said they just didn't play the way that works for them. And I think it boils down a bit to that. Do you trust your method enough to use it even in alien conditions? If not, why not? And why didn't you adapt enough? Those are questions that Lehman and Co will have to address.
Absolutely. We've talked about that already. Go back and figure out the top 6 of the batting order and figure out where Australian cricket really stands at this stage. I don't think it's that big a concern, seeing that they're doing so well. So we'll leave it there. For now, next week, maybe we'll discuss the India-Sri Lanka one-day series or something else. For the moment, thanks a lot for watching this.